The car has been completely decontaminated, completely washed and everything. Cleaned up pretty decent just after a real quick wash. Thing is so cool. I also only had one interior picture to base this entire purchase off of. So the interior is in great shape, minus the steering wheel, which that will change. Seats are excellent. Headliner is really nice. No weird, funky smells. Again, I had no idea what kind of modifications were on really the entire car, let alone the interior. Battery off, so you can't really see anything. But it's got this speed monitor thing. Car also has these really cool DEFI gauges. Show those when the battery's back. Really cool pop-out radio that, well, I'll be removing that, but it's kind of sweet. Also has the HKS EVC like boost controller thingy mabobber, which is cool. Got the DEFI controller. I think this is for DEFI as well. I think this is for a dash cam because I got a USB stick with the car, but I couldn't get it to work, so no idea if that's gonna work. Got this cleaned up a little more. Just gave it a quick degreasing, scrubbing, so and so. One thing that happens in Japan, they get this really heavy, I don't know, it's like almost a soot fallout thing on the engine bays, and it's always a pain to remove. So it has way more modifications than I had thought. I only had about 8 pictures of this thing. The car is also a factory automatic car that has been manual converted, which a lot of shops do. The company I bought it from, Shaft Auto Service, they specialize in that kind of stuff. So it is a 5-speed manual swap from either an R33 or 34 GTT 2-wheel drive car. The trans feels excellent when I drove it. The clutch, while I'm used to my cappuccino, I don't know if it's got a stock clutch or a heavy-duty clutch. I'm gonna dig into that later. As far as engine modifications, I did know that had an exhaust. Looks like it's got the little EVC thingy guy out here. The car also had a carbon fiber hood that I had no idea about. I thought it was like the OG hood, but just painted black underneath, white or whatever. That's kind of cool. Also has the xenon headlights. That one needs buffed bad. They don't work though, and they weren't plugged in when I got here, so dig into that at some point. Also has the Blitz intercooler, and also has an oil cooler over here as well, you can see. So that's about the only fiberglass damage I could find on the car, but I do have a plan for that. So moving on to the exterior, it does have the full Urus Type R GTR replica body kit. The front bumper, side skirts, and then rear spat section, which this doesn't quite fit excellent. Then this side's a little worse, which I might be able to touch this up, make it look a little better. And then the exhaust is the HKS. I'm not sure what it is, but it is an HKS exhaust, so that's kind of sweet. Car also has the Rays 57, I think these are CRs or DR, might be DRs. They're a pretty tame size. They're like a 17 by 8.5, 37 offset wheel. Only other damage I could really find was the guards have been rolled previously. It was an okay roll. The back here does have a little bit of chipping, which I'm just gonna go over that, prevent any kind of rusting or anything. So yeah, this car is super cool, and I can't wait to give it a good polish, a coating, and touch a few things up, really dial it in, and get it looking even better than it already is. So like a lot of cars from Japan, they get this weird acid haze on a lot of on the glass, and I do have a solution, so we'll see what we can do about this. But here's a quick little before on this window. It's a little better with the stuff I'm using. You can just barely see some of that, whatever it is. I guess we'll do all of the glass now. It's gonna be awesome. Tell two right there. Glass has been polished with the spot remover stuff that I have. It turned out okay. They're a little better. You can still kind of see some of that acid fallout, whatever that you get in Japan, but it's a good 7 out of 10. I mean, you could really rack up an entire day polishing glass if you wanted to, so if I can make it look a little more presentable, I'm happy. So just finished polishing the car with the 2-step polisher I've got. Turned out really nice. Headlights really cleaned up great. Whole car really cleaned up amazing. I also went ahead and threw on my roof and rear Urus Type R spoilers. I did have these painted I can't remember what the color code was, the QM white Nissan, that this color is on the car. But as you can see, I think the paint's a little faded and this paint's new, so looks good from back here. Yeah, looks really good from back here. That's awesome. Went ahead and just replaced the battery. If anyone's curious on what kind of battery you get for a right-hand drive car in the States, you can go to O'Reilly's and get a 05, 06, 07 Prius car battery, and it has the same weird Japanese terminals. Top tip. Filter is on. So I got these two. Engine bay is a little better. There's a few spots that really need some good scrubbing. I would also love to go over pretty much every vacuum line, any kind of rubber lines under here, and replace them. I do have a handful of stuff, just random rubber lines and whatnot. Replace those just due to age. There are a few lines on here that are pretty brittle and old, but it did turn out pretty good. So it looks way better than it did. Car is up in the air, and sure enough, I do have HKS Hypermax coilovers. That's kind of rad. These things are a little bit too wide, so looks like we're gonna have to do a little bit of pull and play today. right, so just gave the interior a quick little once-over detail, just kind of wiped everything down, went over some of the glass. Again, this thing is just in amazing shape, minus the steering wheel, obviously. So I went ahead and installed the Toto S8 head unit. Unfortunately, the buttons on this thing don't work, so I might have to get a replacement for that. Went ahead and threw my Tomei knob in, haven't put the sticker on. You'll see why. See the gauges here. Thing's pretty sweet. Again, boost controller. Thing's really cool. I'm not gonna mess with this thing because knowing my luck, I'll blow this car up or something. Again, the Defi gauges. We got oil temp, water temp, and then the boost gauge. I did drive this thing and I did get on it pretty hard, and it runs about not quite a bar of boost. So I don't even know what that is. PSI 12, maybe 12 PSI, something like that. The car pulls so good. So there's the gauge cluster, 159K kilometers. Again, I think this was a gauge cluster swap because this car was a auto and this is a manual cluster. So that's kind of cool. This thing's weird. I don't know what this thing is. When I was driving it, I got to red line and this thing made a beep at me. So I have no idea what it is. So I guess I'll figure out that one day. Yeah, again, thing is super cool. This has spiraled out of control. Just gave everything a quick coat of paint, intercooler, crash bar, and then replaced some hardware while I was in there as well, just to make it look a little nicer. Figured I'd make my life a little easier getting this thing here. Bumper is finished. I went ahead and spray painted the lower lip to give it a more factory front end look. I think it turned out really nice. Plus, I figured as low as the car is, this thing's gonna be getting absolutely beat up. So again, just make it look a little better. Yeah, the front end really looks good. So we got the car up in the air, take a good look underneath. I did look at it earlier and just kind of give it a quick glance, but I figured I'd do a once over now. It's extremely clean under here. Absolutely no rust at all. Everything's real solid. No surprises or anything. So of course I kind of now know that the car has the HKS exhaust, and following it, it actually has the HKS downpipe. So that's kind of cool. Stock turbo, and I popped the intake off and checked shaft play. It was really nice. So car, I couldn't find any leaks or anything. Everything seemed dry. That's cool. It does have this cat, which I would like to remove at some point. And it's also got this weird, I don't even know what these things are called. I would like to get rid of that as well. It would be nice to move this tip back a little more, maybe out here or something like that, just so the back bumper doesn't get extremely sooty. But little projects again. Coilovers were on the car. Yeah, real clean, no nonsense under here. And there's the intercooler, and then it does have the Blitz oil cooler, which is pretty sweet. So yeah, there's the coilovers as well. Car does need front brake rotors. They're kind of noisy, so that's going to be something put on the list. So I got the headlights fixed. Ended up just replacing the bulbs, and they work now. So they are really bright.